Chalev, Salev, Ghalev. Convert, leave or die. This was the call that echoed from the loudspeakers of Kashmir's mosques on that dreadful day of January 19, 1990. Well-orchestrated mobs descended on the streets and Kashmiri Pandits fled their homes to save their lives and honor. By 1991, more than 50,000 families were living in refugee camps, bereft of even basic facilities like toilets and medical care. But prominent Kashmiri Pandits like Tika Lal Taplu or High Court Judge Neelkant Ganju had been targeted and killed in the months leading up to that fateful day. Now fast forward to 2006 and Yasin Malik, an accused in the murder of Justice Ganju, met with the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. It's not every day that murderers get official receptions with the Prime Minister, but the Congress and its ecosystem had worked to get violent separatists into mainstream politics. In the late 1980s, Yasin Malik had crossed the LOC into Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, where he received arms training from the Pakistani military establishment. Initially a core member of the Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, a terrorist group which spearheaded armed militancy against India in Kashmir, he rose in its ranks to become the chairman of the separatist group. He is associated with other Pakistan-based terrorist groups too, like the Hizbul Mujahideen and Lashkar-e-Taiba. Malik is accused not just in the murder of Neelkant Ganju, but also in the murders of 4 Indian Air Force officials in 1990. He is also the alleged mastermind behind the kidnapping of Rubayya Saeed, daughter of then Home Minister Mufti Muhammad Saeed, who was released in exchange for 5 jailed terrorists. Malik was captured by Indian security forces in August 1990, but was released in May 1994 on the condition that he renounced violence. This is very strange in itself. An alleged murderer was released in just 4 years. Since 1994, Malik began mingling with the New Delhi Lutyens crowd and met Manmohan Singh once at a journalist's house in 2001 and also visited the residence of Sonia Gandhi in 2003. He was officially invited for talks by then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh on 17 February 2006. This was a man who struck terror into the hearts of Kashmiri Hindus, and he was actively courted by the erstwhile UPA government. During the Congress regime, Malik has taken part in several public events, be it a BBC talk show or a press conference or even a youth and leadership summit, justifying his ideology of violent separatism and armed militancy against India. Instead of being put behind bars, he was given the freedom to air his views publicly by the Congress. This would change under Prime Minister Modi. In March 2020, Malik was arrested in connection with the attack he had conducted 30 years ago on IAF personnel. On March 16, 2022, these Kashmiri separatist leaders, along with Yasin Malik, were charged with criminal conspiracy and waging war against India under the UAPA. Shabir Shah, founder-president of Jammu and Kashmir Democratic Freedom Party and a terror financier who has spent 32 years of his life in jail. Masrat Alam, chairman of the Jammu Kashmir Muslim